Welcome back to Black Widow Fishing. I'm Bryce. Today we've got 5 more viewer submitted questions, and at the end I'm going to tell you how you can have a vote in what special content we put out next year. So stick around and let's get into it. Our first viewer submitted question for this week is, can you clarify your comments about the A-rig that you made last week? So those of you who watch the show regularly remember last week I discussed an A-rig and its legality in some places or tournaments and whether I believe you should be using it or not. If you missed that video, it'll be right up there on the cards. So to kind of recap, I do believe you can and should be using an A-rig. And so I'm going to go ahead and clarify a little bit of my comments. Yes, the A-rig is controversial in some circles. Others, it's not. I personally feel you should use whatever you have at your disposal to catch fish. And just because you throw an A-rig in the water does not necessarily mean that a fish is going to bite onto your bait. So number one, you still have to know where to throw it, you have to know how to throw it, when to throw it, and actually how to retrieve it. So I do still believe it's part of the sport of fishing. But the good thing is that we live in America and you can free them the way you freed them and I'll free them the way that I freed them. Now with regards to it being legal in some tournaments or not, what I was saying is not the A-rig. As far as I know, the A-rig itself or the Alabama rig or umbrella rig, whatever you want to call it, is not prohibited in any tournament as far as I'm aware. However, the use of a lure other than a crankbait that has more than one primary hook can and is prohibited in some tournaments. So that's what I was saying as far as not being legal. So take that for what you will, but just make sure you read the rules of the tournament that you were involved in. So let's move on. So our second question is, how do you stay warm in the winter? Now, this is a fantastic question, but it's going to bring quite a long answer. If anybody knows who've been watching the show, you know that I hate the cold with a passion. I am a fair weather guy and I like it when it's warm. So what I have right here is a tub, and this is what I keep all of my warm weather clothes in and a change of clothes and some extra towels and everything. And this goes fishing with me every time I leave the house, whether it's in the boat or the kayak. And I recommend everybody get themselves a tub like this, put some extra clothes in there, some towels, anything that you will need. I have a complete change of clothes from underwear, socks, pants, shirts, the whole get-go. So what I have in here to kind of help me keep me warm really depends on if I'm fishing on the boat or the kayak. And so the philosophy that I use is if I'm fishing on the kayak, number one, whether you're on the boat or the kayak, hypothermia is the real big killer. Yes, if you fall in the water, you better have a life jacket on because then the water becomes a killer. But hypothermia is what you want to be worried most about when it comes to cold weather. And so for that, when I go on the kayak, I take the approach of the philosophy that I am going to fall in the water. Although I absolutely hope I don't, but I dress and prepare like I'm going to fall in. When I'm on the boat, I prepare a little differently. If I'm falling in the water on my boat, which can happen, then something has gone terribly wrong. And I don't think at that point it matters what I'm wearing. So, to kind of hit it off, I have a deck jacket like this. So it's almost like a wetsuit. It's by Scuba Pro. You can get them on Amazon for about $200 or so. So I wear this jacket when it's slightly cold, but I'm expecting more like spray from like wind or water or anything like that. It'll keep you warm, but I don't use this for like the extreme cold conditions. This is for, the mild kind of get wet, but not so much downpour rain. The next thing I have are my bib pants. I don't wear a full bib suit. I just prefer the pants because I wear different types of jackets. So these are waterproof. I wear these when I'm on the boat and we're going fast and it's cold. It'll help with the wind. Plus I wear these when it's raining and also just when it's freezing outside because these keep you warm. They're essentially, if you haven't worn any bibs before, you have your regular rain bibs, which are kind of thin. They can have vortex or other kind of materials. Or you have your ice fishing bibs, which are what these are like. So they're almost like snow pants almost, where they can keep you warm but keep you dry. Then, moving right on in, and then I have my very, very warm Sub-Zero jacket. I use this when it's really pouring down rain or when I'm really cold. This will keep you warm when the temperature is below freezing. Then, of course, I won't pull everything out. but I use different items throughout the year. Let's see. I use different items throughout the year, such as my warm weather gloves that I have here. My cold weather gloves, which keep your hands extremely warm. Neck gaiter, all year long. Doesn't matter if it's hot or cold. You have a neck gaiter. This will also help keep you warm. And then, if it's not going to be so cold or rainy, but I still want some extra protection, I use like a little wetsuit vest almost, and it kind of keeps your body heat in. And if you do happen to get wet, it'll kind of help you keep that part of your body a little warm. And the other thing that I have, which I won't show today, are my long johns or compression pants that I wear under, as well as a compression shirt. So layers are the big thing. You want to make sure you have long underwear, regular underwear. You want to have socks, shirts, and layers, your jackets, and your pants. And then your shoes or your footwear also important too. When I'm on the kayak, I know that I'm probably going to get my feet wet, so I'll wear like my longer muck or rain boots. When I'm on the boat, if I'm by myself, I'll wear those same things. But if I'm going to be with a partner and I know I'm not going to have to get my feet wet on the boat, then that's when I'll go ahead and I'll just wear my regular waterproof boots, which are a little bit lower cut. I wear the Timberland Waterland boots, so they're only about yay high as opposed to knee high. So that's how I stay warm. Now, our next question says, do you prefer a spinning setup or do you prefer a casting setup? Whew, that is an interesting question. So when it comes to techniques of fishing, I definitely prefer a casting setup, just because I like to power fish, and you can power fish with the spinning setup, but more often than not, at least at our level, when you pull out the spinning reel, you're going to be finessing. And while finesse works, I particularly enjoy power fishing. However, aside from that, if I'm just out fun fishing, I still prefer a casting setup. If you would have asked me years and years and years and years ago, when I was both using them about the equal amount, I probably would have went with spinning, just because you can cast it way out there and you don't really have to worry about backlash or any of that. But you'll, at least with me, once you start using your casting setup more often, you'll find that it's really hard to continue to use a spinning setup. Not so much that it's terribly hard to use, but you'll just find that it's really difficult to explain. You can only really be there. You can only know if you've really done it. You can get like the lines caught on your fingers, and it's just more of a hassle than it's worth, I guess, when you get to that point. For the easy way to sum it up. The next question says, do you ever keep any fish you catch in tournaments? How about when you aren't fishing in a tournament? So that's a very easy question to answer. When you're in a tournament, if you catch any fish, if it's a target species, such as if you're in a bass tournament, that fish can go in your live well, provided you haven't had your limit. If you're already at your limit of 5 or whatever the tournament is, then you have to take one out before you can put another one in. If you deviate from that, it's grounds for disqualifications. In California, I'm not sure what it is like in other states, but in California, you have to target the species, but if you catch any species outside of that target group, you have to immediately release them. You can't keep them when you're in the tournaments. That's just how it is. You can get a ticket, plus you can also be disqualified from the tournament. So that's the easy part. Now, when I'm not fishing in a tournament, there are different types of fishing that I do. When I'm out practicing or specifically trying to target bass to prepare for a tournament, 99% of the time, if I catch those, I will let them go. If I'm just out fun fishing with no cares in the world and I catch some bass, then it really depends on what my plans are. Sometimes I'll keep them, sometimes I won't. If I do keep them, I usually only keep 2 or 3. I stay under my limit. My family likes to eat them. I like to eat them. They're fine. I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you can't eat the bass. They taste just like every other fish. They're delicious. Any other species that I go out and specifically target, like striper salmon, of course I keep those. I harvest them. I'll eat them. So that answers that. Now, next question, or in our final question, is how much time do you spend fishing a week? So there's 2 types of weeks that I would consider. I would consider, like right now, the off-season week and then the in-season week, whether I have a tournament or not. In the off-season, kind of like now, I don't do a lot of fishing. I'm more so doing a lot of busy work on the sponsorship side, or just marketing my business in general. Plus, I'm also relaxing. When it comes to a fishing week, I would say about 4 to 5 days. If there's a tournament, I'll be fishing 4 to 5 days. Outside of that, my entire time is spent working on sponsors, promotions, all that good business stuff. In a week where I don't have any tournaments scheduled, I probably only fish maybe once or twice a week if I'm lucky. If that doesn't happen, then I'm spending nearly all of my time on the business side. And I think that's one aspect that a lot of people don't see, or they fail to realize that there's a lot of business stuff that goes into being successful outside of the boat or the kayak when you're trying to get sponsors, trying to market yourself, and just create a general business, YouTube, Instagram, whatever you want to do to supplement that business. So if you guys are interested in hearing more about the business side of it and what I do, leave me some comments or some questions, and I'll address those in some further episodes. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is your chance to get involved in what you would like to see as far as special content for next year. So if you've noticed, there might have been a poll that was posted. We have a few votes already, just about what kind of special content you want to see me do the beginning of next year. And I believe one was like a week of following me around, kind of like a vlog style, refurbishing a bass boat, building a bass boat from, I believe, a John boat, I think it was, building like a mini bass boat. And there might have been something there. I don't remember if there was a third question, or if there was a fourth question, or if there were only 3. But go ahead, check out our community post and get your answers in. On December 31st is where we're going to turn off the voting, and then whichever one has the highest, we will go ahead and we will start planning and do that kind of series. If there's a tie, then I'm going to be the tiebreaker and decide to do which one I think is best for me, and then we can probably roll in the other ones at some point during next year or even the following year. So I hope you enjoyed the content this week. I know it was a little bit longer than we normally do for our question and answer session, but I think we had some good information as far as the cold weather gear and how to stay warm. So if you found this content enjoyable, please think about subscribing to the channel. We're getting very close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we have a giveaway coming up. So that's it for now. Catch you next time.